says, shake it off. Oh my God.
I'm trying to regroup. Let me just double check to see that if I can get maybe, so it looks like Drew's coming back on. And
I just sent out an email saying try to log back in using your original link.
yes. So it looks like we only need Abby. No, sorry, Abby is here. Jennifer and Steven, yeah. Let me see if I can email them.
Guys, sorry, this is Drew. I got kicked off and now I'm back on. It took a New York minute.
Yeah, no problem. We were all kicked off, unfortunately, but I'm glad.
Oh, everybody was.
Yeah, rejoin us. Our login was being used, so Zoom thought we were probably some sort of threat and kicked us all off. But thank you for rejoining us.
It took good times. Good
technology
times.
Technology is funny.
There's Steven. Hey.
Oh, okay. Here we go.
Okay.
Now we just need Jennifer.
Yes. Let's see if we can get Jennifer.
Oh my.
Great. Hi, Steven.
Hi, I wasn't the only one who got knocked out?
No, we all were. Yeah.
Oh, good. Okay.
It's kind of like, it's like the day after tomorrow. So we all were kicked off, unfortunately, but we're reconvening at this point. I think the only person we're missing right now is Jennifer. So you didn't miss anything, not that I know of. So let's see if we can get Jennifer back on.
Oh, I think she just sent an email here. Simon, while you work on that, do you want me to?
Yeah, maybe we can continue and we can loop Jennifer back in when she rejoins us.
Okay. So I think I was at Stephen explaining that the sales tax would be the piece that we would get from the outside deliveries. Does that answer your question?
Yes, it does. I know there was an article in the IJ a couple weeks ago talking about how some of the, I think San Rafael-based delivery companies were, I guess, I didn't really understand the whole thing, but I guess there was a little bit of conflict there. So I was just,
Yeah,
wondering.
I think that the paper may have, Measure G is the business tax for the businesses that are here. And then there's the separate tax, which is sales tax.
Okay.
So when we have a registry, we're getting a list of who's coming in that then we can work with the California Tax and Fee Department at the state level to get the sales tax remittance. So that's why we're going to create that log. Without it, we are relying only on the state and the delivery operator to sort that out. And we have had on our end where a delivery company remitted sales tax to us that should have gone to Mill Valley. And so there's a state department that works through those anomalies, and that happens with every type of sales tax you can imagine, car dealerships, all that stuff. So it's something that we work in partnership with the state to remediate over time, but it's harder to get our arms around delivery when we don't know who's coming in.
Right. And I do have one more comment question. The $75,973, that was the fund balance. Why is that not in the balance statement? Because isn't that an asset? Isn't that cash?
It is, and it's in the balance sheet. So let me quickly show you that. Oh, I can't share my screen, Simon.
Oh, let me make you a co-host again.
Okay. Or, you could just look at the information that I sent. So balance sheet, page 1.
Yeah, I didn't see it there. I only see the $146,000 in receivables. I don't see the
So-
actual.
It's in fund balance, restricted, $75,973.
Oh, maybe I'm looking at the wrong document. I'm looking at the one you sent or someone sent this morning.
Yes, so does it say Measure G cannabis balance sheet?
Mhm.
And so if you scroll all the way down.
Oh, fund balance. I'm sorry, I missed it. You're right.
Yeah, there's too many spaces in there because
I was expecting to see it under cash assets up top, that's why.
because it's from prior years, it's in the fund balance.
Okay, understood.
Current year, it would be in
Thank
there.
you.
Hey, Jennifer, welcome back. Sorry, we all got
Thanks.
kicked off.
Oh, maybe I was just trying to log back in when before you had logged back in.
Yeah,
So
I think it was probably that brief window of time where we all got
Yeah.
kicked off, and you probably rejoined the quickest, so you weren't able to set it up right then and there. So thank you for
Okay.
joining us. We
course.
just, the login was being used simultaneously by someone else. But just to kind of recap, Danielle had finished up her question to Stephen regarding the sales tax for outside delivery companies. And then Stephen also had another question for Nadine regarding the $75,000, which is in our fund balance right now.
Mhm.
So those are the only two things that we buttoned up. So we're glad
Oh,
you're able to rejoin us.
Thanks.
Sure.
I have a quick
I just have.
question. Oh, sorry, Danielle.
Oh, go ahead.
I was just wondering, Danielle and Nadine, I know we're looking at these numbers and, they were pretty awesome for the first, year of these businesses being kind of up and running. With these extra, 4 additional delivery services licenses, how soon are you looking to fill those applicants? Do we already have applicants that are waiting and in the pipeline to then kind of be able to hit that $1 million mark, next fiscal year?
Great question, Abby. Thank you. It's 3. So it's 3 additional for a total of 8. We have 5. We don't have any plans to open it up immediately. With COVID, there's going to be some coordination that we're going to need to tweak on our end, because in the past we've had like in-person interviews as a part of it. We've had some changeover on staff of who will be on the merit panel. And we're also checking in with our delivery companies where they're at. Right now, what we're seeing is a bit of a plateau. And so we're just being sensitive before we roll out the next 3. I will say that from that action, we probably have 7 or 8 interested parties. Some of them already exist in our program and are looking for an opportunity to try to vertically integrate further. And others are not from this area and interested in starting, and others were from people who live in the area and are interested in getting in the business. So I'd say about like 7 or 8 inquiries since we made that change.
That's fabulous to see.
Yeah. So time is to be determined, but to the software question, that like we license it's like an onboarding application processing software called Camino. And so all of the applicants are able to upload all their documents. You don't have to, back in the old days, binders full of paper would be dropped off at the office and then copied and shared. We no longer take all those trees down. We just have everything digitized and are able to share that with the raters. So that's where that software comes in. It comes in when we do license rounds. It comes in with renewals, and it will hopefully come in when we start registering the outside delivery.
Is that a one-time fee, that $25K for that software, or is that a yearly expense?
It's a yearly expense.
Okay.
Yeah. Jennifer, did you have a question?
I did. Mostly just to understand a little bit more how this works and our responsibility in the committee. With a fund like this, or is there a budgeting process? So do we have like a budget actual variance report with, with these reports. Are you looking at that at all?
I'm gonna defer to Nadine because I'm not sure
Yeah.
I totally understand the question.
Uh-huh.
So the responsibilities of the committee are to basically review the expenditures to make sure they're in line with the ballot language. But so you don't really do
Okay.
a budget, but we do have a budget. The way that our budget works though is, like I said, we estimated $250,000 for revenues for this past year, and it far exceeded that. So during mid-year budgets, we adjusted it. At year end, we adjusted our budget again because we knew that we were receiving more income than we had originally forecasted. So there's not too much. I mean, we like to be really spot on with the budget because we like to know how much we have for additional enhancements, new projects, an additional hire, things like that. But as far as expenditures, actual expenditures, that's what you all are responsible at looking at. So there's not too much involved with the budget for you.
Right. I'm just trying to put the expenditures in some kind of context so that when I'm looking at it, I'm not quite sure from where I sit right now how to tell if it meets the requirements of the measure or if they're in alignment with the outline, how the measure outlines it.
Yeah.
So I think it's a learning process, but
No, you're absolutely right. I mean, that's a very valid point. And one of the reasons is because I'm going to show you the measure right now. And so, is that, no, not that one. Although,
That was Measure G.
yeah, but it was one of the links.
Oh, got it.
There it is. Okay. So you all see that right now where it says June 15th, 2018 Measure G.
Yes.
Yeah. So this says to maintain and enhance City of San Rafael services with funding that cannot be taken by Sacramento, including enhancing police and fire services, repairing potholes, enhancing community centers, and administering a cannabis oversight program. So again, I totally understand where the challenge is here because it's essentially so much of our city operations that are allowed under this program. And I too, as I was preparing the presentation, it's like, well, what can we not spend it on? And, I mean, we want to be able to use it to enhance, but right now we're using it to maintain. That's kind
got
of
it.
the takeaway. It's like, I'd like to see this tax gross fee start enhancing city services. But at this moment, it's maintaining.
Right. Okay. This helps. And what you just said makes sense to me. And that's, understanding kind of that you're growing and ramping up. And as you ramp up, these other things will be phased in.
Mhm.
And the program is still being kind of established.
Right. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great.
Thank you.
Nadine, I know you're not a psychic, but I'm wondering if we weren't in a pandemic, would you have seen the funds be used differently?
If we weren't in a pandemic,
Yeah.
well, we would certainly have other initiatives. And so, yes, I mean, whether it be more mental health assistance, whether it be consultants that, people we bring in or people we hire, right? I mean, it's the goals of the city, whether it be, I can't even coming up with, oh, there's a pipe that needs to be redone here in the city, right?
Right.
So things like that, I can absolutely. Right now, we're at such a standstill because our revenues, took a big hit. And so we were lucky to have Measure G funds to help us maintain certain things. But I would like to say that yes, at some point, we will see these funds going to new initiatives. I mean, we want to continue to grow our programs in our city.
Great. Thank you for that. Do we have any
I have a
additional
question. I have a
questions?
question for Nadine, if you have a moment.
Sure.
The
Drew?
7178 that I just could use some clarity there. You said you borrowed it from the general fund. Is that what's a remaining balance that's owed, or is that yearly?
So thank you. Great question. That is just some cash that was borrowed because we were waiting for receivables of $141,000 to come in. So it's really just cash flow. We repaid it to the general fund on, July 29th or whenever the cash was actually received. But we knew we had it. We knew it was coming. We just couldn't record the revenues as cash in June because we didn't receive them until July.
So you just borrowed it to keep the machine running?
Yeah, it's just an accounting timing function. It's the way we have to present things. But it was for a split second only because of how we could record things on the balance sheet.
Is that fairly common practice?
Absolutely, yes.
And another question is regarding the security. You mentioned that it's recorded each time when people pay quarterly. Is that to accommodate their lack of banking?
So I can step in and answer that. In a nutshell, yes. Most of our licensees still operate by, taking in cash. A lot of them are still unbanked. However, we've noticed in the past 2 quarters that a lot of our licensees have been able to get banking services at a lot of local credit unions and local smaller regional banks. So it's been less of an issue recently. I think when we had first started the program, Danielle and I were scratching our head, like, how are we going to collect this? It's going to be a very interesting way to do the intake. So it was kind of really using the existing resources that we had. So it was a great idea to obviously have a police escort. And they themselves were wondering, how do we record, essentially the amount that they're providing us? Does that match what they're saying they're giving us? And the body cam was really the obvious answer. So it is primarily because most of them do not have access to banking services.
Well, I love that you guys are doing that service. It's commendable. The IRS doesn't do nearly as much. You just go in and pay. And I can say that because that's what I've done in the last 5 years.
Yeah. We also want to make sure that we are safeguarding obviously the amount that they're providing to us, because I can tell you that a handful of times what they've provided to us has not matched what was actually given. So that's really good backup for us and really good evidence. The last thing we want to do is be accused of not being transparent. So that's the absolute first thing that we really want to keep in mind. Obviously, their safety and the fact that we want to have obviously a legitimate collection process.
It's a great differentiator. I know that I've done cash drops for tax in San Francisco County and things like that. And to another one of our committee members' points, it has not been that safe. So that's a great thing that we are offering and whatnot.
We're not a very large city, so we've had some licensees who have operations in other bigger cities, and their collection process is very different. We think everything that we collect is just awesome. Really, it doesn't matter how small it is. So we want to make sure that we're on the up and up.
Is it okay if I add something?
Yeah, absolutely. Go ahead, Danielle.
Yeah, I would say that, part of, I think, a worthy expense is having the police presence there and being in a secured facility and not publicly listing any of our licensees' addresses. We take their security very seriously. Our police have done private consultations with some of our companies on how to better secure their facility and are there for them. During the civil unrest during the summer, there was a lot of information being shared with other cities about cannabis businesses being compromised. Our PD was on high alert. We were communicating with our licensees. So we really want them to feel valued and supported by not only, the economic development team, but our city police team is a huge partner for them, and they feel really supported is the feedback we get. And part of that is at the quarterly or for some people, monthly collection where they're getting to talk with the officers and build that connection with them.
Yep, absolutely. Let's see. Do we have any other questions that we'd like to go ahead and address right now? Okay, I think seeing no questions and no one from the public attending, we have covered everything that I can see from the agenda. Danielle, did you want to add anything regarding a particular item you had in mind?
There's one more item that I wanted to add, and it's my mistake. This is all new for me. So as part of Measure G, and your great responsibility of serving and being our sounding board, staff submits a staff report along with a letter from the committee members that basically you've reviewed this, you've heard from us, been able to answer questions. I have a draft that I was hoping to maybe get a volunteer or two that I could work with offline, that we could then bring this on a consent calendar item to our council in January. So happy to hear if anybody in the group is interested in working with me on that. I should have had that on the agenda. My apologies, I didn't.
No worries. I have a sample that you sent me, Danielle, that I can share.
Okay.
That what we entail in terms of, it's about a page or two, right? Let's do this.
I'm happy to help in any way, Danielle. Just let me know.
Myself as well, Danielle. Thank you.
Thank you. Yay. Thank you.
So it's about, the report's about a page, maybe less than a page. And then we have an accompanying staff report that goes with it. And that also is about, it's not very long. Let me go ahead and show you that briefly.
So Simon, staff would prepare the staff report, and
Yeah.
we just ask that the committee create a report similar to the one that Simon showed, and circulate it for signature, or just let us know via email that you would like us to, write approved in email as part of your signature if you don't have a PDF signature or something like that. And then we would attach it to our staff report.
Right.
So that's essentially all you'd need to circulate.
Right. So Nadine's correct. We would prepare the staff report. The screen share I'm showing you right now is just an example. It's a different measure. It's Measure E. So in essence, you would just be doing the Measure G one, and we would be assisting you obviously along the way. So thank you both for volunteering. We do appreciate it. I think that should
Simon,
be,
I've got Drew and Abby written down. Is that
Drew
what
have,
you have?
oh, yes, I do.
Okay. Thank you
Great.
both.
Thank you. Let's see. So unless there's anything else, that concludes our first Cannabis Industry Oversight Committee meeting. Thank you all for coming to join us twice. Appreciate it. And yeah, let me know if there's anything else beyond this. And we obviously are very grateful for your support and really service to the city of San Rafael.
When's our next meeting, by the way?
So we meet just once a year because of,
Once a year. Okay.
yeah, because it's not that frequent. We will typically try and schedule it well in advance. Usually we had just had this one because we wanted to do it before 2021. So we imagine that obviously we'll have another meeting in 2021. The date's uncertain at this point, but I would imagine it, probably being sometime in the latter half. What do you think, Danielle?
I would agree. We usually like to come to you after we've had our finances go through the auditing feature, correct, Nadine?
Yeah. So you'll expect to meet with us in late November, early December, as soon as our audited financial statements are finalized and taken to council and approved.
Great. Thank you for that. And obviously, you can let us know if there's any questions in the interim. Since we're not very frequently seeing each other, feel free to reach out to us whenever, and we'll do the same. Cool. All right. Well, thank you, everyone. Have a good holiday season, and we'll hopefully be in touch soon.
Nice to meet everyone.
Thank you.
Thanks, Nadine.
Great.
Thanks,
Thank
guys.
you, everyone.
Thanks, everyone. All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.